Hello. Today we will be discussing three questions regarding Lieutenant General Harbaksh Singh's autobiography. These are questions 13 to 15. Question number 13 is regarding the integrity, patriotism, and true leadership of Harbaksh Singh. Question number 14 is regarding the leadership in captivity. And question number 15 is regarding Harbaksh Singh's opinion about Japanese soldiers. Question number 13. Despite immense pressure, propaganda, and offers of rank and privilege for the Indian National Army (INA) during his imprisonment, Lieutenant General Harbaksh Singh steadfastly refused to change his loyalty. Discuss the reasons behind his decision to remain loyal to his oath and the Indian Army. How do his actions reflect his understanding of patriotism, moral integrity, and distinction between true leadership and opportunism? In his memoirs, In the Line of Duty, Lieutenant General Harbaksh Singh gives a powerful account of his time as a prisoner of war under the Japanese during World War II. Among the many challenges he faced, one of the most severe was the pressure to join Indian National Army, which was formed by Indian soldiers in Japanese captivity. Despite promises of rank, privileges, and freedom, Harbaksh Singh refused to change his loyalty. His decision was not just an act of discipline, but a deep expression of his patriotism, integrity, and understanding of true leadership. Harbaksh Singh's realization. When Singapore fell to the Japanese in 1942, thousands of soldiers were taken prisoner. The Japanese used this opportunity to form the INA under General Mohan Singh and later Subhash Chandra Bose. They claimed that INA would fight for India's independence, but in truth, it was controlled by Japan and served its war aims. Harbaksh Singh quickly realized this. He saw that INA was being used as a political and military tool by a foreign power and that its members were being misled under the slogan of patriotism. Loyalty to oath. Harbaksh Singh had taken an oath of allegiance to the king and the Indian army. For him, this oath was sacred. It represented loyalty to the army, his comrades, and his honor as a soldier. To break that oath under pressure would be an act of betrayal, not only to his service but to his own conscience. He believed that true freedom could not be achieved through dishonorable means or under the control of another imperial power. The Japanese tried to win him over with flattery and rewards. They offered him rank, comfort, and safety in return for joining the INA. Many officers and men, broken by hunger and suffering, accepted, but Harbaksh Singh refused every offer, even though it meant harsher treatment, hunger, and constant danger. His refusal was not just political, it was moral and ethical. He knew that loyalty and integrity are the foundation of soldiers' character. Without them, leadership becomes hollow and self serving. His actions showed a clear distinction between the true leadership and opportunism. A true leader, he believed, stands by his principles even when there is nothing to gain. An opportunist changes sides for personal benefits and comfort. Harbaksh Singh's refusal to yield proved his courage and strength of character. He was willing to suffer rather than betray his men, his oath, and his values. He also showed a mature and balanced sense of patriotism. For him, patriotism was not about loud slogans or short term advantage, but about honor, duty, and faith in one's country and people. He believed that India's freedom must come through unity, discipline, and sacrifice, not through allegiance with the foreign enemies. In the end, Harbaksh Singh's stand became a symbol of moral strength and professional integrity. His loyalty under extreme pressure reflected the finest tradition of the military service. He showed that true patriotism means doing what is right, even when it is the hardest path to follow. So, to conclude, we can say the integrity is non negotiable. Oath and honor define a soldier. Leadership means standing firm amidst pressure. True patriotism is moral courage in action. So we move on to the next question. During his captivity as a prisoner of war under the Japanese, Lieutenant General Harbaksh Singh repeatedly took personal risks to uphold his principles and protect his men. Based on his memoir in Line of Duty, identify and explain the specific risks he undertook during this period. How did these actions reflect his qualities of leadership, morale, courage, and commitment to duty despite the life threatening conditions of Japanese captivity? Based on the memoirs in the Line of Duty, Lieutenant General Harbaksh Singh's experience as a prisoner of war of Japanese from 1942 to 1945 stands as a profound testament to a leadership style forged in adversity. His captivity was not a period of passive survival, but an active, continuous campaign where he repeatedly took grave personal risks to uphold his core principles, protect his men, and preserve their dignity. These actions were not isolated acts of bravery, but a coherent philosophy of command demonstrating his exceptional moral courage, unwavering commitment to duty, and a leadership ethos that put the welfare of his subordinates above his own safety. The specific risks he undertook can be categorized into three interconnected areas: preserving life and health, maintaining morale and integrity, and securing information and autonomy. First, Harbaksh Singh repeatedly risked execution to secure the physical well-being of his fellow POWs. When a malaria outbreak threatened the camp, he undertook an unauthorized mission to Singapore to confront the INA leader General Singh and successfully secured 2,000 quinine tablets. This journey alone, as a POW outside his camp without permission, carried the penalty of beheading. Later, when the need for mosquito nets became critical, he again slipped out of the camp disguised as an official of the Indian Independence League and traveled to Ipoh to procure cloth. The penalty for this absence could have fallen not only on him but also on his brother, the camp commandant. His most daring medical mission was to Kuala Lumpur and Penang to procure typhoid syrup and syringes, a multi stage journey filled with the risk of his true identity being discovered by Japanese military police and INA informants. These were not reckless adventures, but calculated risks born of the necessity, reflecting a true leader who would rather face the firing squad himself than watch his men perish from the preventable disease. Secondly, he took immense risks to sustain the morale and spiritual fortitude of the prisoners, essentially defending their collective integrity. The most sustained risk was his outright refusal to join the Indian National Army, despite intense pressures, propaganda, and the ominous presence of the Japanese intelligence officers. He and his brother demanded a direct appeal from Gandhi or Nehru, a stance that saw them branded as obstructionists and placed in a concentration camp. This principled resistance carried the constant threat of being made an example of by the Japanese, for whom INA was a useful tool. Furthermore, he engaged in small but significant acts of defiance to preserve a sense of normalcy and culture. He secured permission to retrieve the Sikh holy book, the Guru Granth Sahib, and then brazenly smuggled out cutlery and supplies, deceiving the Japanese guards. He also organized cultural events, play, and patriotic songs that unraveled the INA's own propaganda, fostering a spirit of nationalism that was inherently dangerous under the totalitarian regime. These actions demonstrated a leadership quality that understood morale is a vital component of survival and that moral capitulation could be as fatal as the physical neglect. Clandestine wireless. Thirdly, Harbaksh Singh gambled his life to secure two key assets, information and means of communication. The operation of a clandestine wireless set was arguably his most dangerous and consequential undertaking. He first scavenged the set and then masterminded its concealment, eventually powering it via a secretly routed electric line and hiding the receiver in a drum buried under a bunker. Listening to BBC broadcasts was a capital offense, and the Japanese periodically used detection equipment in attempts to find the set. The intelligence gleaned, such as Allied victories in the North Africa and Normandy, was a priceless morale booster that provided hope and a connection to the eventual Allied victory. This risk was taken not for personal gain, but to arm his men with the truth against the relentless propaganda of his captors, giving them the psychological strength to endure. These actions collectively reflect the core qualities of the leadership. His moral courage is his moral courage is evident in his unyielding refusal to join the INA. It was a courage rooted not on in stubbornness but deep-seated mistrust of Japanese motives and the commitment to what he believed was legitimate path for Indian freedom. His commitment to duty transcended the conventional boundaries of a soldier's role. Even in captivity, his duty was to his men to keep them alive, healthy, and mentally resilient. He defined his duty from fighting the enemy to preserving the human capital of his command against starvation, disease, and despair. Finally, his qualities of leadership were demonstrated through his personal accountability and willingness to lead from the front, even in prison camp. He never asked his men to take a risk he had not willing to take himself, whether it was stealing supplies, operating the wireless, or traveling under a false identity. In conclusion, The Japanese POW camp was a crucible that tested every essence of leadership. Lt Gen Harbaksh Singh's actions during this period revealed a commander for whom rank was responsibility, not a privilege. He repeatedly risked his life for principles, medicine, and information. He demonstrated that true leadership in the face of the absolute adversity is about making conscious, dangerous choices to uphold the duty of care towards one's subordinates, thereby preserving not just their lives their but their very humanity. Next question is, in his memoirs, Lieutenant General Harbaksh Singh describes Japanese soldier as both an exemplar and a warning. Analyze how his portrayal reflects the dual nature of military discipline, highlighting endurance, resilience, and tactical brilliance on one hand, and the dangers of blind obedience and moral dehumanization on the other. What lessons does this paradox offer for shaping military ethical military leadership and training today? In his memoirs, In the Line of Duty, Lieutenant General Harbaksh Singh gives a striking and balanced picture of the Japanese soldier during the Second World War. Having fought against them in Malaya and later lived among them as a prisoner of war, he saw both their admirable strengths and their frightening weaknesses. His description of the Japanese soldier becomes a lesson in understanding the dual nature of military discipline. How discipline can create the most efficient and courageous fighting force, but when to the extremes can also destroy the human spirit. On the one hand, Harbaksh Singh admires the endurance, toughness, and dedication of the Japanese soldier. They could march long distances through jungles with minimal supplies, survive on meager rations, and continue fighting even when the odds were hopeless. Their discipline and teamwork were extraordinary. Even Japanese soldiers accepted hardships as natural and carried out his duty without complaint. They followed orders swiftly, kept their equipment in perfect order, and worked in silence. Harbaksh Singh saw in them a model of professional commitment and physical resilience that few armies could match at the time. He also noted their tactical brilliance. The Japanese soldiers were masters of jungle warfare, using surprise, deception, and speed to defeat better equipped Allied soldiers. He adapted quickly to the terrain, attacked at night, and exploited confusion. To Harbaksh Singh, this was proof that courage and training could often outweigh numbers or technology. The Japanese had built a force that combined loyalty, courage, and discipline into a near perfect fighting machine. However, Singh also witnessed the darker side of this same discipline. The Japanese soldier's unquestioning obedience to authority turned him into an instrument of cruelty. He was trained to obey orders without thought or moral judgment. This blind loyalty led to the acts of inhumanity, such as the tortures of the prisoners, executions without reason, and complete disregard for human sufferings. Harbaksh Singh observed that many Japanese soldiers had lost their ability to feel compassion. They were brave, but their bravery was mechanical, driven by fear of failure and devotion to an emperor they had never met. He called this condition a form of moral dehumanization. The soldier's mind was so controlled by propaganda and command that he no longer questioned right or wrong. Harbaksh Singh realized that while discipline is essential for any army, when it suppresses the independent thinking and moral courage, it becomes dangerous. The Japanese soldier's fanatic loyalty turned him into both a hero and a victim, a symbol of what happens when a soldier stops being human in pursuit of the obedience. So the lesson is discipline is essential, but when it suppresses the independent thought and moral courage, it becomes dangerous. From this paradox, Harbaksh Singh drew important lessons for military leadership and training. True discipline, he believed, must be balanced with humanity and moral courage. A good soldier should obey orders, but must also think and act with conscience. Leadership training, therefore, should not only build physical toughness and tactical skill, but also moral strength and empathy. Modern armies, he argued, must learn from the Japanese example to admire their endurance and professionalism, but never to imitate their blind obedience. The ultimate purpose of military discipline should be to create soldiers who are not only fearless in battle but also human in victory. Thus, Harbaksh Singh's portrayal of Japanese soldiers stands as a timeless reminder. The finest army is one that combines strength with conscience, discipline with compassion, and courage with humanity. With this, we have come to the end of this set of question answers discussed. Thank you.